Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode. Welcome to Actually Let's Talk About It. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode, Love the Way You Lie Part 1. I am super happy you've tuned in today. I really appreciate the support. Please share, please send some insights if you would like to, just have a conversation or comment or whatever. Feel free to do that. I am really, um, what can I say? I'd really love your feedback. Sorry. I'm sorry. I just had a brain fart for a few seconds. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. And today's topic is time. Um, yeah, it's about time. And don't worry, it's not the motivational, oh, time management, like, oh, what do you do with your time? Da, 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 da. This topic is mainly encompassing how we use time as an excuse. Sometimes we use time as an excuse, or we use time to self sabotage ourselves from actually living and fulfilling the things that we actually want to do. And we constantly are convinced that there's still time, there's still time, there's still time. And, you know, like time moves quickly, and we let a lot of opportunities just, you know, go past us. And yeah, I just hope that some of you can relate because, as usual, I'm calling myself out and others too. I mean, if the shoe fits, that's a you problem. But I'm talking about for me, as based off of my experiences and based off of things that I've actually had to like call myself out for. I hope you enjoy this episode and let's get into it. Have you ever done this thing where you tell yourself you're going to start something? You tell yourself, like, okay, I'm going to learn how to play an instrument, or I'm going to change up my wardrobe, or I am going to go for walks more often, or whatever it is, right? You tell yourself, like, yeah, this is what I want to do. New Year's comes, and you're like, yeah, my goals for the year. And then you write them down, and then you're like, this is what I want to pursue and everything. And you plan accordingly. It just looks so flowery. It looks so real that you get stuck in the planning phase. You like don't even want to skip to the implementation stage or actually just doing it. You'd rather just stay in this bubble of like, you know, of glamorizing the idea of what you're trying to pursue because you tell yourself, I have so much time. No, 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 no. I have so much time. I have so much time. Like, guys, I have so much time. For example, like, you know how YouTube had its era? Like, I think from 2013 through to like 2018, before COVID, a lot of YouTubers used that opportunity to make it, if that makes sense. Like a lot of YouTubers were getting their money, honey. Like a lot of YouTubers were getting brand deals, like the likes of Diera, the likes of Jackie, like the likes of Haley. Like I'm just trying to think of the people from the top of my head. And had they postponed their opportunities, or had they let that era go by, they probably wouldn't be the people that they are right now. And I think it's really important to be very intentional regarding the season that you're in and what you're supposed to do with that season. There has to be something you're doing for you so that when you're 50, 60 and you look back, you don't have any regrets. You don't think about, oh my gosh, I should have tried this. I should have traveled more. or maybe I should have waited, or like, like, I think it's very important to not be stuck. And I feel like sometimes we are responsible for that. We're responsible for our own decisions, because at the end of the day we make these choices. It's either you take it or leave it type of thing. It's either you do it or you don't. That's what it is. It's either you do it or you don't. There are people who get stuck in the talking stage of like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. And I used to do that a lot. I think I do it sometimes, but I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to do this, I want to pursue this, because I feel like like, this would be great. And then you have the support, you have people saying, oh, yeah, that actually makes sense. Like, yeah, you should pursue that. Whether it's a career change, whether it's, relocation, whether it's travel, whether it's you trying out dance classes all of a sudden, and you're just like trying to figure this life shit out. It's crazy how sometimes we're the ones who hold ourselves back. And I feel like we need to confront ourselves regarding those things, where you know what you're supposed to do, and like, you just choose not to because you use the excuse that you still have time. A lot of older people that I talk to, like, who are like probably in their 70s now, 80s, they've reached retirement and everything. Every time I ask them, like, what advice do you have for me? Like, I'm young, I don't know what I'm doing, da da da. They constantly tell me to just do whatever I want to do in that moment and learn to be present and not take time for granted. And I think, like, because we have this um habit of like, yeah, what, I don't need to do that. Everybody is doing it. Everybody is a content creator. Everybody has a business. Everybody is doing the same shit as I wanted to do. So why should I even pursue it? That's where it starts. And I think, like, it's really important to do it anyway. Like, fuck it. Like, I feel like it's important to just try and just see what happens. You never know what happens. You never know what will happen. Like, you never know whether this will be another success story, or this will be your breakthrough, or this will be your step closer to connecting with your higher self. You don't know the outcome of that decision. And I think it's really, 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 really crazy how short life is. And it's scary how we take it for granted, because we think there's another day, or, oh, I'm going to do it tomorrow. And I feel like, it leads to like the next subtopic, which is procrastination. And like, you keep coddling yourself, and you keep telling yourself like, nah, I can do it another time. And you're supposed to do it right now. And there's a reason why that opportunity has been presented to you in that moment, in that state that you're in. Because imagine now, if let's say always wanted to learn how to swim, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, and you actually want to do it, but then you just postpone it. And then let's say you get older, and then the body isn't bodying, working out isn't as easy as it would have been had you started doing it when you were younger. You understand? It just like, you end up saying like, oh, I've always wanted to swim. Hey, when you start seeing other people pursuing that, and you're like, I've always wanted to swim. Oh my gosh, like, you're so lucky, because that's what I've always wanted to do. And then guess what? You didn't do it. So now what? You know? Harry A. Hoff says often greater risk is involved in postponement than in making a wrong decision. I feel like this is relevant to what I'm talking about right now. I feel like you should rather just deal with the consequences later, but at least you've tried. You've tried that business, you've tried that career change, you've tried, you've at least tried. And then you're like, okay, this didn't work out, but at least I tried. I feel like there's so much peace that comes with actually trying, because you don't necessarily have to see yourself through, and there's no guarantee that everything that you tell yourself you want to do and try is going to work out. There's no guarantee of that. But like, I think there's way more respect given to a person who actually would have done something about what they are wanting to pursue, as compared to a person who is just talking about it and postponing the opportunity every single time. Procrastination tends to do that. I read somewhere where um, they said that procrastination is the art of keeping up with yesterday and avoiding today. And like, a lot of people tend to hold on to their previous achievements and be like, oh, but I did this. And then like it ends there. And they wonder why their life isn't fulfilling or it doesn't have any purpose, because they're just stuck in the past. They're not really thinking about what they want for themselves in the future and what they actually want to continue to pursue. I think this life thing is constant self development. I don't think you reach a point in your life where you have everything figured out. I mean, like the billionaires, the trillionaires, they're always coming up with something, honey. They gonna be in the music industry. They gonna be in the medical industry. They're gonna tap everywhere, honey. They gonna find out how to build a civilization in space. So what makes you think, if they, even after, like, you would say like, oh yeah, I'm content, like, I have my millions, I have my billions, like that's it. you know Life just doesn't stop there, if that makes sense. There are going to be new seasons, there are going to be new challenges. The world will be constantly evolving. And are you evolving is the question. And you don't necessarily have to evolve with the world. I think like you should be able to constantly develop yourself so that you don't feel like you're left behind. You're content with where you are, but like also you are growing, if that makes sense. And I think like a lot of people just reach that, like, yeah, no, I'm gonna do it later, and then they never do it. And then they grow up being bitter people or angry people when they see people who are riding on the opportunities that have been presented to them and holding on to them, giving it 100 like all the time. They end up just being those like hateful Karens and those like bitter people that are just like mad at themselves and constantly projecting the if buts and maybes they didn't pursue. And procrastination is very scary because you're just in Delulu land. You're just like, yeah, like, yeah, I'm gonna get my license. I'm sorry to couple people without licenses, but then if that's something that you want to do, and obviously I mean like people who have the capacity to do it and then they just choose not to, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna get my license, like, yeah, no, definitely I'm gonna learn how to drive, right? It can be something simple like that. You tell yourself like, yeah, I need to know how to drive at this age or whatever. Or it doesn't even have to be an age thing. You tell yourself, this is what I want to do. And you realize like, oh, the reason why like opportunities are not coming to me or things are just tough for me right now is probably because I don't know how to drive. Damn. Okay. And then like you just sit with it. You just leave it and you're like, yeah, maybe next year I'm gonna do that next year. Not now, I'm gonna do that next year. And like I said, I'm talking about people who have the resources, or like the opportunity has presented itself to you so many times, and you just like keep scrolling. Like you just like mize it, you just ignore it, and you're like, yeah, there's still time next year, there's still time next year, there's still time next year. And then guess what? Somehow, God forbid, like the government makes it harder to get licenses, or let's Black Mirror this shit, right? Let's say now, like, we have flying cars and cars that drive themselves. You don't need, like, for example, we have Teslas now, and you don't need to learn how to drive, and you don't even get to experience driving for yourself. And you're like, oh, back in the day, do you know we used to drive ourselves to school, da, 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 da. And you're like hanging on to the past, and you're like, oh man, I wish I could have like learned how to drive. It's like those little things. I'm not saying this is not how I think, by the way. I'm just trying to like illustrate like how procrastination can just make you miss out, and you're not missing out with trends or whatever. You're just missing out on something that you would have wanted for yourself, something that you would have been like that you would have told yourself, like, yeah, I'm gonna get a Rolls Royce at some point. I want to drive a Rolls Royce, like, period. And then you miss out on that. Or like, I want to go kayaking, whatever you want to do, and the opportunity is constantly presenting itself to you. It's not a matter of, oh, you can or can't do it. It's a matter of you doing it or not doing it. That's what I'm saying. So procrastination is really something, if you do have that like problem, it's something that you really have to work on and introspect about it and be like, damn, like, this is something that I need to really think about and take seriously, you know? You know how Google Photos or any app actually, that gallery, whatever it is, does this like memories thing where it says five on this day 5 years ago, on this day 10 years ago, or whatever it is. Or on Instagram, like Instagram will show you your previous posts or your previous stories and tells you like, hey, would you like to make a reel, whatever it is, right? It's so interesting how your story can now be documented. It's up to you to publicize it or not, but like your journey or your life or your experiences or your memories can now be easily documented with a simple picture or a simple selfie that you take. um it really is that easy. And there are some pictures of people that I saw when I was younger, like my baby pictures and stuff. Some of these people, I don't even know where they are right now, and I don't even know what they're doing or what's going on. And this is years ago, but then in that moment, we were together. And I think it's really important to make as many memories and cherish as many memories as you can, because time, in as much as we say, yeah, like, I'm gonna take my time with it or whatever, it's also important to be present and to spend the times that you have with the people that you love, and be outside, take a picture of the sun, take pictures of nature, take pictures of the beach, take pictures of the food that you're eating, or your favorite restaurant. If you go to a concert, if you go to a festival, take a picture of that moment. I'm just happy that we take a lot of pictures. Obviously, a lot of people like to publicize everything, like that everything that you're doing. You want everybody to know, this is what I'm doing right now in this moment. It that's up to you. But I mean doing this for yourself, where you just even take pictures of your pet, or whatever it is. We have that opportunity now to document our lives, to document our memories, and our experiences. And I love it when um, Google Photos does that thing where it reminds you of what you did that day. And it's like, oh, you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, this time, and you reminisce. And it all adds up to the story. And I feel like, we're all experiencing life in so many different ways. There are definitely ups and downs, but there are definitely moments that we do cherish with one another or even with yourself. And watching that progress or watching that growth unfold, especially when you document it, is really, really fulfilling. Watching, or looking at those pictures that you took when you were 16, you didn't even know what you wanted to do and whatever, and just look at that picture, you're like, damn. And then you look at yourself when you're like 20 and you're like, oh my gosh, when I was 20, I was wilding, I was doing the most, you know, I was about a girl, whatever you were doing, right? And then you're 25 and you're like, having your entry level job, you're just trying to make it. And then you have girls trips, you have your girls trips, or you have your vacation, or you have Christmas dinner, whatever it is, and it all adds to the story. And you when you look at those pictures, you end up appreciating more. You end up being grateful for the time that you had, the times that you experienced with people, with others, whatever. It's just a reminder of how time flies. And it's very corny, but I think it's good. I love how on Instagram people do the monthly photo dumps, like they do the grid thing and then they post like their memories of the month. And then like on TikTok they do the whole end of year thing. And then you compile as many pictures as you can, and like you upload it if you choose to upload it. If you're not, you just keep it. That makes you appreciate how time is of essence and how important it is. You don't want to be out here at the end of the year. You're looking back at your pictures and you're like, hey, I didn't do shit. I literally did not do anything, you know? And you don't want to look back and be like, "Ah, everybody is posting. Why? How come I didn't do that?" Because that was me last year, where I saw people's pictures and I was like, oh my gosh, people were really doing things. Like people were going for concerts, people were going for festivals, people were going, for events, and, just putting themselves out there and also living. If there's proof of life, there's literally life outside of your situation. And I think it's important to remember that, to remember to make those memories. Go and see your grandma, go and hang out with your friends, go and visit your nieces, your nephews. Like, make those memories, take those vacations if you can, take those vacations, take those day trips, um, have those cookouts, have those braais, and take pictures while you're doing that. You don't know how it will help you appreciate. Your future self is going to appreciate that even more. And being present just forces you to focus on the now and what you can do in that moment. You don't have to think about tomorrow. You don't have to think about yesterday. You're just focusing on what is it that I want to do right now. And ride on that. Ride on that shit. Be present, whether it's with the person that you're interested right now or interested in right now, or if you're trying to do a clothing line, you're like, oh my gosh, let me do it right now. The reason why you're thinking about doing it now is because you have the capacity to do it now. Otherwise, you wouldn't have thought about it. It wouldn't have crossed your mind, you know? So, yeah, I think it's important. Get that degree. It's not too late for you to get it. Get the degree that you want. Pursue the career that you want. Change the offices that you're in. Change the position, whatever it is. Apply for that position. Do it. Try. Do your nail tech stuff. You've always wanted to do nail tech shit. Do it. Just do it because you have the capacity to do it right now. Your eyes can still see very well. So do it. You have the energy for it. You have the drive, you have the passion, you have the innocence, you have the motivation. Do it. Just do it. Like I like Nike's, slogan. Literally just do it. Just do it. Whatever happens after that, whatever, but just do it. And yeah, I think this also applies friendship wise, relationship wise. Like, let's say you're interested in somebody, like you like them or whatever. I have this pet peeve of mine when I watch romance movies where a, a person will be interested in another person and then they just choose not to say anything because they don't want, like, the other person to think that, oh, they're not cool or they're corny or whatever. I don't know. It's just weird. People are just weird, right? And then now you watch that person that you were interested in move on with another person. And had you just told them, like, hey, honey, I think your vibe was good. Had you just done that, you wouldn't have to suffer the pain or the consequences of the what ifs or, oh my gosh, I wish, that should be me. Like, no, no, stop. Like, stop it. Like, stop feeling sorry for yourself because you didn't have the balls to make the first move. I'm sorry. There's absolutely nothing wrong with rejection. Like, people say rejection is redirection. Yeah, okay, you shot your shot and then, like, things didn't work out or whatever. And maybe you guys decided to keep in touch for a bit. And then maybe like, you know, let's apply the invisible strings theory here. Maybe one time, maybe after 5 years, 10 years, you guys end up being together, but then at least you shot your shot. You were direct with it. You were like, okay, you said everything with your chest and you didn't waste time. I don't understand people that be out here hating and being mad at that person for moving on, yet they don't even know that you were even interested in the first place. Like, I do not understand. Are we supposed to read your mind? Are we supposed to assume? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand that. I do not understand that. And you just constantly think, like, I think it's also in relation to procrastination or just like not doing it because you're like, oh my gosh, damn, what are they gonna think of me? What are they gonna say? Oh, like, I really like this person. It's awkward for me to, like, pursue them, da da da. Like, you'd rather find out, wouldn't you? As compared to just like being in your head and creating these like hypothetical solutions or scenarios, and you're like, okay, imagine this, imagine that, and then you're not being in the present. Now you're making yourself look crazy because all you do is daydream. Now you're maladaptive daydreaming, right? You just, what is it? Maladaptive. I don't know how to pronounce that, but that thing. You start daydreaming and you create this illusion that you're interested in this person, and you haven't even been, like, you haven't even taken them out for coffee. You haven't bought them flowers. You haven't said, hey, hi, how are you? I like you, whatever. You You haven't even auditioned. You're just in your head. And then you expect them to know that you're interested in them. Stop it. Stop that. Like, that's not okay. It also applies to, let's say, career wise, right? You tell yourself, ah, like maybe, um, I'm too underqualified for this opportunity, or I don't think this job will be for me. You're interested in something, you see it, and you see it like, you see a job advert, and you're like, I think I would like to do this. I think I'm interested in this thing, or I think I would be a fit for this. But then maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm underqualified, or maybe I'm not good enough for this opportunity, or maybe you sabotage yourself, right? You tell yourself you're not good enough, and you hold back. You withhold that opportunity from yourself, right? Whereas there are some people who just get the job and they don't even have the degrees, they don't even have qualifications. It's just basically pure favor. It's literally just them telling themselves, you know what, I'm gonna just do it. I'm gonna just apply for it. And I think it's important to have that mentality that you may never know. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what's gonna happen, and that is okay. Stop thinking or doing things with the end in mind. With You already have concluded your story. You have concluded it, and you have been like, okay, this is set in stone. This is not gonna work. That is why you hold yourself back. And it's not right. It's not okay. Just apply for it. Same thing with visas. You might even be surprised. People are applying for visas, or whatever country you dream of, and you're like, oh, a lot of people are relocating to Switzerland. I would love to go to Switzerland for a year or something. And the visa application process is so easy. Like, it's not even demanding of you, you know? But because you hold yourself back and you tell yourself, no, I still have time, the next thing you know, it'll probably cost a fortune to get that visa application through. So don't be your own op. Like, I feel like we tend to be our own ops. Like, we tend to talk down on ourselves and like tell ourselves we're undeserving of certain things or of certain opportunities. And also, I feel like there's this fear of success as well. The fear of failure is not necessarily like everybody's like, yeah, what if it doesn't work out? Cool. But also, there's this fear of success that comes with it. Like, okay, it works out, then what? Oh my gosh, I'm unprepared. What? I'm not ready for this. No. Oh my gosh, you shoot your shot. You're like, yeah, I'm into you. Da da da. This person is like, really? I actually would like to have a relationship. And you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Oh, damn, commitment. Nah. Damn, loyalty. Ew. Now I can't be out here drinking and partying with the boys every day because now, like, there's this person in my life and I have to take it seriously. There's this fear of success that comes with it. And we want to exempt ourselves from responsibility and accountability constantly. Like, we don't want to be held accountable for shit or liable. So even like, let's say with the business is successful, you're now going to have to think about your image, think about your mission, think about your vision. You're going to have to think about your target market. It comes with a lot of responsibility. And we want the easy way out. We're like, nah, actually, I don't want to do all of that thinking. I don't want to do all that work. No. And I think that's also a reason why we procrastinate, because we don't want that. We don't want the success story that comes with it. We don't want to have to deal with the contracts and the licenses and the blood, sweat, tears that come after that. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a foreigner in a new country. Damn. Like, the move, the getting to know people, the finding your fit chat. And for some people, it's just the rejection. And I feel like the rejection is so easy because you're like, oh, it didn't work out. Oh well. People fear the success more. That's what I think. People fear the responsibility that comes after. And you're like, nah, like, no, let me not do that, and you hold yourself back, which is terrible. It's not a good thing. It really isn't. I hope you feel enlightened. I hope you feel a bit encouraged and also called out for some things. Um, it's not easy to delve into this type of topic without extensively exploring all influencing factors. Yes. But I think the moral of the story is we're running out of time and you should live like it. You should live accordingly. And also, I saw like we're the new adults now, hey? Like, we're the new adults, and I think let that sink in. Like, I feel like we tend to get really comfortable in this, like, oh yeah, I'm a Gen Z, oh my gosh. No, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna, I'm taking my time, da 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 da. You're taking your time, but like, time isn't waiting for you. Time is not taking its time on you, honey. Time is moving, cruising. Pursue whatever you want to pursue, and it's better to make that decision now and then deal with the consequences after that. And as people say, let your intrusive thoughts win. Let them win. But I hope in a good way, the good ones, the good intrusive thoughts. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you were encouraged, you were motivated. It's just something that I've had to also come to terms with. But thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you.